Hey everyone, welcome. This will hopefully be a just chill live stream chat with all of you. I haven't done one in a little while, so I don't expect to accomplish a lot, but I just wanted to hang out, do a few things on the Rook, maybe show off the Fortress progress, that kind of thing. Hopefully audio's good and you can all hear me fine and all that stuff. So we're just going to do a little bit of stuff with the Rook here. Just mount the bed. I'd like to get the Z end stop mounted here. Just a few little odds and ends, things like that. So we'll probably start here by mounting the bed up. This just uses M3 bolts. Hey Woodcat, hey Robert, hey Zombie, welcome. Mount that up like this. I apologize, my streaming setup is not great yet. Even though I have a really nice Sony camera, I can't use it for live streams yet because I don't have a capture card or anything like that. I'm going to have to build a live stream PC because I don't have a lot of room on the desk that I'm using right here. So I have to move it over to my other desk where I do my builds now, but I don't have a computer there, so it's a little bit annoying for me to try and get everything on this desk, as you can see. Oh, what parts are you missing from the Fabrico kit, Zombie? Hey, 3D Head Tutor, welcome. Awesome. Glad to see so many people building Rook kits. That's super awesome to see. Why is this not going in? Let's tilt this on the side here. Why is this not gonna line up here? I'm just gonna steal this for a second here and hopefully get these bolts to line up. Don't want to cooperate, it seems. Okay, there's two. There we go. All right, finally got that lined up. Oh, you're missing printed parts. Okay, I thought you were missing something from the kit. Yeah, printed parts can take a while, especially the frame and stuff like that for sure. Okay, I need some M3 bolts, or screws, or nuts I should say. So I have these printed thumb screws that I'm going to use to tension the bed. I'm just going to install the M3 nuts inside the screw, inside the printed thumb. Thank you, 3D Head Tutor, appreciate it. Yeah, I'm very excited where the Rook is at and where it's going. It's definitely taking off and getting very popular, and a lot of different kit manufacturers coming on board and things like that. So very excited to have LDO working on a kit. That's going to be super awesome once that gets finalized and everything like that. Still a work in progress, of course, but it's going to be great for people around the world to be able to buy kits if they don't want to self-source. Hopefully later on in the stream I'll show off. I made a fair amount of progress on the fortress yesterday, so I can show off to you guys what what progress I've made. I'm pretty happy with it so far. Hey Hacks, welcome. Yeah, fortress is coming along very well. Probably slower than I wanted or slower than I expected it to, but you never know with custom printers how long they're going to take. And Fortress, I've been making some changes. Thanks, Hacks. Even if you're lurking, that's cool. Yes, thank you very much, Awake. Yeah, that is my daughter's picture, just barely in the frame. It's a baby picture, so that's okay. Hey Tom, so generally I designed the Rook to be printed in PLA. It's meant for beginners, and a lot of beginners don't have the ability to print PLA or don't have the ability to print ABS. But you definitely can print it in ASA or ABS if you would like. It's primarily meant to print PLA, so PLA Plus or something like that is totally fine to be used. Yes, 3D Head Tutor. Matt, who created the 100, he's actually on the Discord. And yeah, he was inspired by the Rook, and he kind of made his own very speedy version of the Rook, which is really cool. I think it's like a mishmash of the Rook and the Rook 180. It's a cool printer for sure. There we go. Our M3 thumb screws here. This is the new MK 1.1 bed frame, so it has cutouts. So you can use these shorter Fabrico springs. The springs that come with the Fabrico kit are 20 millimeters, and the ones I always used were 25 millimeters, so there were some issues there. But hey, Alper, welcome, welcome. There we go. So bed is actually installed now on the Rook, which is nice. It helps a little bit with the weight balance. The Rook is definitely very rear heavy, so a nice heavy V0 bed like that definitely helps it out quite a bit. So I'm going to try and install the Z end stop now. So the Z end stop just goes in this back corner. If I can find my Z end stop here. I am 3D printing out all the parts for Sherpa Mini, so I don't know if they'll be ready by the time the stream is over, but this is my Sherpa Mini you can see in the background being printed on my X1. It's got about 30 minutes left, so we might be able to assemble the Sherpa on the stream. Is the bed heated? Yes. So the actual design for the Rook, it just had a glass bed with painter's tape on it. Again, to save money. I wanted it to be very inexpensive. So it was just made to use a glass bed, essentially. However, a lot of people have since added heated beds, and like the V0 is now kind of the spec for the Rook bed. So that's kind of what's happened. So generally, most people will build it with a V0 bed, but like I say, initially I intended the Rook to just use like a really inexpensive $10 piece of glass, again, to keep costs down. So it's totally your choice, but the default spec now is a V0 bed. For stability, do you think we need the shield? Which shield are you talking about? Okay, let's... So here's my end stop from my Fabrico kit. I'm going to take off this metal arm. Yes, Elper. Rods are 8mm in diameter. I need my... Oh, no, I got it. So I just removed the metal lever from the end stop because we don't want that lever on there. We want it just to have the button. And if I can find my M2, which right here. Hey Slinky, welcome. Yeah, for sure. Send your designs my way for sure. There's definitely been people who've sent me their designs, just kind of sharing inspiration and stuff like that, which is really awesome. So definitely feel free to DM me. The shield made by Canrog. I don't know which one that is. Is it a mod? A shield for what? Yeah, I've actually, there was a design of the Rook that didn't have the front linear rods. They just had plastic support beams. The frame was actually not as stiff. Now, if you made the beams thicker and actually bolted them in two places on the top and bottom, I definitely think that would work fine. Hey Spider, welcome. Oh, side panels. Yeah, I mean, the side panels definitely will add some rigidity and potentially could help you print ABS on this printer if you did want to go down that route, but primarily meant for rigidity, and then it gives you more options to add spool holders or whatever, but they're not necessary. I'm generally pretty lazy and I don't like printing out large parts like that. So I usually don't run the shields or the side panels, I guess you could call them. But that's what's so great about the Rook is you can actually make the Rook you want. Awesome. Yeah, excited to check them out. Yeah, there's definitely been a couple different ideas for the Rook. And initially, the very first Rook, it was meant to use all four linear rods as the Z, but it caused a lot of binding if your prints weren't perfect. So I just ended up omitting them. Thanks for stopping by, Slinky. Okay, so I mounted my end stop from the Fabrico kit here. There's no M3 or M2 self-tapping screws included in the kit. So you can hot glue this to this mount if you want to, or it's always nice to have some M2 on hand. So I just bought an M2 assortment on Amazon. So I have tons left over, and it's always nice to have little tiny M2 threaded self-tapping bolts because they're useful for clicky probes and all sorts of stuff. Rook 2020 was a hit at Murph. That's awesome. Yeah, I think the Rook 2020 was a natural addition to the Rook series or whatever. Hey Josh, Fortress. Yeah, I will show off some Fortress progress here. Yeah, Nero's building a Rook. I think today he has a stream. Speeds for the Rook, there's been a lot of different people doing speed benchies and all sorts of stuff on the Rook. I generally keep the Rook tame, like 5,000 to 7,500 acceleration and like 120 millimeters a second, but that's not a limit really. Canrog has definitely printed much faster. Zombies printed much faster on his Rook. Visited Murph last weekend, and there are 4 Rooks. Yeah, it's crazy how many Rooks keep showing up at events and stuff. Hopefully next year I will go to a couple events in the States. Okay, so I need a M3x8, I believe. That's actually quite too big. Confuses me routing the XY belts in a core XY design, trying to design my own. Do you have a tutorial to understand how to do it? So 3D Head, my recommendation is go out and grab CAD from another printer. Like VZBot or any Voron printers will have the belt path in the CAD, and it'll be much easier for you to wrap your head around it when you see the belts actually ran. I'm lazy, so I usually don't model the belts in my CAD, but you can grab a V0 CAD and put it in Fusion, and you can check all the belt routing and stuff like that for sure. That's probably the easiest way to actually get your head around the belt routing on a printer. Thanks, Jaws. I'm glad people like the Rook 180. I'm very excited for the Rook 180 MK1 that Canrog is doing. Hey, Izia, welcome. Yeah, well, hopefully, Spider, I'm waiting for your serial. You gotta get it printing perfectly and post a serial. I'm excited to issue a serial number. So the Rook bed will, yeah, this is just suspended in the air because the belts are not worn in yet. It's very tight and it's not going to fall down. So we'll see how it goes for now. When you're printing though, you want to dock the bed after every print. See if I can actually get this bolt in here. This is definitely pretty tricky to do. Seems like I got it though, which is actually pretty impressive. Oh yeah, I think, are you talking about the wire for the fan? The fan wire? I think you forgot it. I think I have it here. And the power cable too. So this end stop mount is adjustable up and down a little bit. So you can fine tune your Z. It's a little annoying to get at this bolt, but luckily you only have to do it once. And we can put it. You have the power cable. Yeah, I have the fan cable. I think that's the one that I forgot. All right, let's feed this wire underneath. We'll maybe do a little bit of wiring in the Rook, I don't know. I'm trying to save a lot of this for my build series. Alper, the linear rails are MGN9C, and it's 200 millimeters for the Y and 150 for the X. Slowly but surely we'll get the Z mounted up. Can be a little tedious to get this in, but no worries, Upper. Okay, it looks like this is almost tight enough. And it hits on that perfectly. So yeah, we'll do a little bit more here to the Rook. This is very close to printing, but I want to do some wiring videos in my build series, and I also want to do some clipper, like installing clipper and stuff like that, so that there's a nice guide on how to install clipper. Perfect. So the Z end stop is all installed here. It hits the end stop button perfectly, and pretty much perfect travel. We're almost touching the bed, or almost touching the frame here with the bearing, so that's good. I'll put on my build plate here just so I don't lose it. But yeah, very happy with the MK1 revision for the Rook. I think it's kind of the final form for this printer, and I'm very happy with how it's looking. So next I think we'll mount the main board. I haven't done that yet. So Fabrico kit comes with the SKR Mini E3. This is kind of my favorite board for printers of this size. Integrated heatsink. You don't have to worry about double-sided tape or anything weird like that. So I need to get some, I think it's M3x8s for that I'll use. And generally I will mount it, let's see here which orientation I'm mounting this in. It's like just like this. At all speed if I cut motor to power. So the bed is always going to fall if once you break your belt in a little bit, meaning once you start printing with your printer a little bit, your bed will fall, but it's only really an issue when you first build your printer. You're going to be docking your bed at the bottom of the frame after you're done a print. So the bed falling, in my opinion, is not really a big issue. Once you like build your printer and you're messing around with homing and things like that, and you got to hit emergency stop or whatever, then yeah, your bed will fall. But when you print, once you're done the print, you just have a macro that moves the bed all the way down to the bottom and it docks. So during prints, your bed's not going to fall. It's just the initial setup and stuff like that. There we go, and I'll put one on the bottom here. So generally when I build printers with belted Z, I will kind of make sure that I have my hand underneath the bed whenever I have to do an emergency stop or I'm tuning something. But once the printer is completed and I'm just printing on it, I don't have to worry about that. Yeah, Simple Core 330 is a heavy bed. Although, again, my 330, I had no problems once the printer was functioning. I didn't have any issues with bed drop because, again, I wasn't messing with the printer at all. I was just printing. Once the print is done, it docks at the bottom. I do not like the SKR Pico because the connectors go out on a weird angle. So the connectors actually come out like through the front. I don't like the 90 degree, not 90 degree, but like 180 degree connectors on the Pico. That's the only reason why I don't choose that. The connectors are just really weird for small printers, in my opinion. So I generally don't like to use them. So just some M3x8s to mount the board up here. See if I can get another screwdriver. Which one it is here? Does the SKR Mini E3 have the option to install a clipper on it? Yes. Oh, it does not have the option to run clipper. You will still need a Raspberry Pi or laptop or something like that. There's definitely some cheap options though. You can buy the Big Tree Tech Pi, which is very inexpensive. It's like $30 Canadian or something like that, and it'll run clipper for you. Or buy yourself a used laptop, and then that laptop can run a bunch of printers. I've got a V32 building a Delta. Awesome. I love Deltas. Hopefully be some Delta designs coming soon. I have a planetary gearbox on my 2020, but I have... Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, planetary gears steppers are definitely a great option for sure. If I ever design a larger printer, like the Simple Core again, I'll probably just spec planetary gear stepper motors just because they're not that much more expensive. And then you don't have to worry about drop. But all right, let's get these tightened up here. Yes. Oh yeah, a Dell Wise client would be awesome for running Clipper. Although I just don't know how many Clipper instances you can run on a Wise client, but yeah, they'd be pretty inexpensive. A lot of times on the used marketplace, you can find a laptop with only 4 gigs of RAM. They're very cheap because 4 gig of RAM laptops are not very useful to a lot of people. They're perfect for running Linux and a bunch of Clipper instances. Yeah, 0W2s are great. Now that they're finally coming back in stock, those are a great option as well. So the Fabrico STLs have more of a bottom frame. There's room down there, I believe, for like a Pi Zero or something like that. You'd have to check their manual and see. I definitely know there's more room. I'm building the vanilla Rook, so my power supply is going to be external, and I'm just going to be using a laptop to run this. Yeah, old Mac Mini would be awesome for Clipper. It's a nice small computer, plenty of power to run a bunch of Clipper instances for sure. Yeah, lots of outdated computers are really, really great to reuse for Clipper. There's so many machines you could recycle and reuse that have small amounts of memory, and you can install Clipper on them very easily and run 4 printers easily. So there we go. We have our SKR Mini installed in the bottom. If I can see here, we could probably plug in our end stop too. So here's our Z end stop, which I'm going to have to actually repin this because it's a 3-pin connector, which is not a big deal, but so I'll leave that for now. And then I think I have some wiring for the XY motors too. No problem. Happy to help. Currently printing parts for 2020. Awesome. Yes, you can definitely use an old phone or tablet for Clipper. It's definitely more finicky for sure. I have a tablet. I have a Lenovo M8 tablet here. I bought this really cheap. It has a dock and everything. I did get Clipper running on there, kind of, but it's definitely for advanced users. It's not very easy to get it working on a phone or laptop, or a phone or a tablet. I'm going to check the progress here of the bamboo. So this is the Sherpa Mini in the background printing. About 11 minutes left on it, so we can maybe assemble the Sherpa Mini as well. So I'm just grabbing my wiring from my Fabrico kit here. So nice wiring bundle included in the Fabrico kit. Again, usually better than what I use. I usually buy these wires on Amazon, like the cheapest ones I can find, and they're definitely not as nice and twisted like this. Yeah, David, I have a X1, an old X1 Lenovo ThinkPad with only 4 gigs of RAM. I think you can get them around $100 Canadian. They're crazy cheap, and they'll easily run multiple instances of Clipper. i5, 4 gigs of RAM. The Wi-Fi is way better than any Pi or anything like that. It's great. It's super fast to upload G-code and just start prints. Honestly, laptop is still my favorite. And then if you're running input shaper, like FiSec USB-C, you can just plug this right into the laptop and input shaper works just like normal. You don't need GPIO or anything like that. So there's honestly a lot of different ways. Even like a really old MacBook, like the really old MacBooks, the Intel ones, you can put Linux on those, and they're sleek, really nice hardware that you can just sit under a table or something and it'll run a multiple printers on them. It's really cool. All right, so yeah, just plugged in the stepper motors here. I have my Z end stop, which I have to change the connector because it's a 3-pin connector, but we just need 2. So I'll have to change that. Yeah. So David, I work in IT, and Lenovo ThinkPads are amazing. They're one of my favorite laptop brands. However, their quality has dropped off in recent years. The ones that you mentioned, like the T560s and T450s and all that kind of stuff, were tanks. Amazing keyboards, worked really well, but their newer ones are not that great. But the older T560s, T570s, laptops in that generation are awesome. Older X1s are great, but I'm finding their newer ones have a lot of problems. Okay, what was I going to do here? Let's just check on the bamboo prints. I should just leave it up, actually. Still 8 minutes left to go on that guy. I'd use old laptops, however, the power consumption quickly makes them horrible financial decision. Oh, okay. Even like a laptop, even like a low-powered laptop on like power saving mode or something like that would be still expensive for you for running those. Usually like an Ultrabooker or a smaller laptop like that would be okay. So I've tried a Raspberry Pico with Input Shaper. Very noisy. I couldn't get it to work properly. The Pico had a lot of noise that it introduced into the accelerometer that I found. I tried different accelerometers. I tried different Picos. It was the same result. If you run the command like it's noise check on the Clipper documentation, the noise was over 100, which is not suitable. So I now run the FiSec USB-C package. This is nice because it has a Raspberry Pico processor already on it. It's all in one. So it's nice portable Input Shaper, and it's basically a cleaner version of using the Pico. I had no good luck with the Pico. Hey, Crazy Lee, welcome. Yeah, I definitely had issues with the Pico. All right, so I don't have my key. I don't have the inserts on the key yet, but I do have my Rookery and stuff already printed, of course, for the printer. It's actually getting quite close to printing, but like I say, I'm trying to save some of the more in-depth stuff for my build series. I haven't measured the actual power consumption, but from the ones I have around. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sure there's probably a laptop where you could have a low-powered version, but yeah, hopefully Raspberry Pi 0W2s get cheaper, and that's honestly a really great option. Yeah, maybe it was the ground wire that was causing issues, but I didn't like the wiring, and it was kind of just all over the place and stuff like that. I just like the cleaner USB setup now. So it's a FiSec portable input shaper, I believe is the actual name. If you just search FiSec ADXL, you'll find these on AliExpress. They're $16 Canadian. They're very inexpensive. My favorite input shaper. Oh yeah, running a laptop with the lid shut so it turns off the screen. Yeah. My laptop's just like sits under the desk and I never touch it. It just runs Clipper and that's it. I use the rechargeable 9-volt batteries for different electronics projects. I'm working on some different projects that I have. I have all sorts of electronic stuff. I made like an ESP rover for to drive around in my house with my kids, and like a Bluetooth rover I use the 9-volt batteries for. So a lot of Arduino and stuff like that. Just 4 minutes left on the Sherpa Mini, and then we can hopefully assemble that. I think I have all the parts. Well, I know I have all the parts. I think I'll have to do some heat sets. And I still need to make a mount for the Sherpa Mini. I totally forgot about that on the MK1. So I'm just going to make a little adapter that will bolt the Sherpa Mini to the back. The Fabrico kit has the mount integrated right into the back of the frame, but on mine I don't. So you can run a BMG clone extruder here, or you can run a Sherpa Mini. Because my Fabrico kit came with all the BMG gears, I'm just going to run a Sherpa Mini on the back. And I printed out the special Sherpa Mini adapter so that you can run a Bowden tube to the Sherpa Mini. It took me a little while to figure out where the files were, but they are available on the Sherpa Mini GitHub if you download the zip. I'm just printing them in PLA, just like the rest of the Rook. This Rook is going to be kind of low effort, 5K acceleration, nothing insane. So I'm not worried about the motor getting hot or anything like that. I'm going to be running everything low amperage, kind of tame. And I'm trying to just keep with my color scheme, of course, the orange and green. And yeah, so this version of the printed parts doesn't have a bottom portion for the power supply that comes with the Fabrico kit. So if you don't want to mount your power supply on the side, you can use the Fabrico STLs, or I am using a AC adapter for my Rook. Generally, that's what I usually run. So I have this 24 volt 8 amp power supply that I'm going to use. So the power supply is going to be external, and I can have a little bit nicer wiring, hopefully. Yeah, William, everything on the Rook is PLA. That's generally how I'm building my Rooks, PLA, PLA plus for a Rook. It generally only prints PLA itself, so there's enough of an air gap here. I don't really find any issues with that. Especially when on a heated bed. You only need to run the heated bed like 40 or 50 degrees. Put a little bit of glue stick on there. It keeps everything nice and cool, and the plastic doesn't have any issues. Same thing with the motors. I'm not running the motors hot or anything like that, so they'll definitely be fine. Yeah, and for a beginner printer like this, PLA is just completely fine. Any reason the way you mounted motors 1 and 2 instead in towards each other? Oh, for the cables? Yeah, you can definitely put the connectors on the sides here for a little bit nicer wiring. That's just kind of how it worked out for me. I'll be bundling these all up probably or something and running them down below or something like that, but there's always cleaner ways to do the wiring than what I do. If you follow the Discord, I'm definitely the worst at wiring, and I don't really care so much. I'll just like zip tie everything in the bundles and just leave it wherever. Once the printer's printing, I just start using it. And there's our Sherpa Mini finishing. Oh yeah, fan shrouds definitely can be a little bit tricky to get working well with PLA. Depending on the temps you print at and stuff like that. Yeah, roller wiring indeed. I'll probably just like zip tie this stuff like this and just send it. Done. I find so these hot ends here with the smaller silicone sock, if you're printing PLA low temps like 190, usually the ducts are fine. But yeah, they can definitely be succumb to the heat if you're printing higher temp hot ends or printing really fast and you need to get your temps really high. But I'm going to go grab the Sherpa Mini parts. All right, here we go. We have all of our Sherpa Mini stuff here. Just set that aside. So this is the modded Sherpa Mini back housing that has an option here for a collet. So you can actually put these black collets inside the Sherpa Mini. And that will allow you to use it in Bowden. So the collet just fits in the top. And then you can use your little lock-in. So this gives the Sherpa Mini option for Bowden. I did see that Crazy Lee, the gift filament for Kickstarter backers. I need to double check that email again. Oh yeah, the Twitch ads. Okay, so the kit has a Sherpa Mini BMG kit included with it. Has all the heat set inserts and everything like that. So just open that up here. Gears. And then a little bit of hardware here. So we have our heat sets for the Sherpa. And this does come with like a little tiny weird collet too. I prefer the black collets. Hey Matt, welcome. So I need to grab my soldering iron so we can do some heat sets. So don't do what I do. This is like a really janky Amazon soldering iron. It almost started a fire. I do not recommend using these, but this is my go-to soldering iron for heat sets now. I have like fixed it, but it definitely was very close to starting a fire in my office. Rook 180 updates, Matt. Canrog is working on the Rook 180. If you want more updates and you want to support the channel, you can join my Patreon. Every Sunday, Canrog gives me information and I post it on Patreon. It is being worked on. He's making great progress. The belt loop or the belt routing is much better on the 180. It's going to use the Dragon Burner tool head. It's going to be a really cool update for sure. Hey, Crispy, welcome. So I'll just let my terrible soldering iron get to temp there, and we will install some heat sets. I think 4 heat sets are what we have to install. So we have a heat set here, a heat set right here, and then I know there's one other heat set, I think. Yeah, or 2 heat sets here, I believe. I don't remember, but we'll figure it out. And then we have our motor. So we have our nice Rolohan 3D branded motor for our Sherpa. Yeah, I'm don't worry, there's definitely going to be some videos on the Rook 180. I'm very excited to build a new version. Awesome, excited to see your build of the Rook. Hey Lucid, welcome, welcome. All right, that's getting pretty warm there. We should be able to start doing some heat sets. I'm gonna grab my trusty metal square that I used to make the heat sets nice and flush. Try to get it in view a little bit for you. So I'm just letting the soldering iron do all the work. I'm not pushing in on the heat set at all. Just getting it warm, letting it stick up a little bit, and then I'll push it in with the metal side here, and I'll make it nice and flat. That's how you get nice flat heat sets. I think Sherpa Mini is just the most common or the most well-known, I should say, and that's what Fabrico chose for theirs. Any BMG clone extruder will work fine. The factory extruder, like just the normal BMG clone extruder itself is okay too. Sail fin would be okay. Shark fin, Sherpa Mini. They're primarily meant for direct drive, so that's kind of usually why I like the BMG clone. But the Sherpa Mini does have mods to support Bowden, which is nice. So we got that nice and hot, and then we'll just make it flush with the square there. I've decided I'm going to build a Rook, then a Voron after. Awesome, Lucid. Yeah, Rook, then Voron is great. I've definitely built a couple Vorons for sure, and the build of any printer is really, really fun. Thanks, I appreciate it. The Rook is very cool for sure. There's definitely going to be some cool stuff coming out in the future from my design team with different printers and trying different things. Even different things from the Rook. There's going to be some really cool smaller form factor printers that I have plans for, so definitely look out for those for sure. Okay, so I know these 3 printed pieces for sure. There we go, get that nice and hot, and then we'll just use the metal square there to get it nice and flush. Have you looked into the bigger gear versus regular gear, PMG sized ones? Yeah, William, I've definitely, I actually run a lot on my other printers. I run the Hextrudort, which has like the CNC gears, so it gets rid of all the direct drive kind of weirdness with the BMG gears. So yeah, the Hextrudort is my favorite extruder right now for just normal extruders. And that's generally what I use on my printers now is the Hextrudort. Or the, yeah, whatever it's called. I never can remember. I usually use these. Hextrudort VZ. The mellow ones are super nice. And they're the same price as like an Orbiter or whatever. So I just prefer that because it's got all the gear fixes and stuff in it. All right, so that's all, got all our heat sets installed there. So all that looks great. Just trying to make sure I have everything that I need. So this is going to go like this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be another heat set. I think my kit might be missing one heat set because I think there's supposed to be 2 heat sets on the back here. Yeah, the gear is like wobbly and stuff. We'll put some heat sets on the back here as well. I have some spare heat sets. The Rook the Fabrico kit comes with spare heat sets too, so it's okay that there was one missing in this. Let's get that nice and hot, and then we'll make it nice and flush here. I've seen sellers on Taobao recently starting to list kits for the components for bigger gear version. Oh yeah, okay, yep. Got to order kit, was supposed to build some core, but I've abandoned that, and now stuck with a Trident 300 frame. Okay, what are you going to do with your Trident frame hacks? Are you going to actually use the Trident frame for an ender wire, or what are you going to use your Trident frame for? So there's one heat set done. Oh no, I lied. There's another heat set there, so it did come with all 5 heat sets. All right, that should be it for heat sets. We'll turn that off. And then again, I'm just going to use the nice flat metal portion of my square to get that nice and flat. Today bought some parts to actually start a Rook. Awesome. Retired Hypercube, and we'll make a Rook. Oh, the Hypercube is a really cool printer too. I actually bought one used just a couple days ago. So I'm going to do some mods on the Hypercube and have fun with it too. But they will start hitting alley pretty soon. Awesome. Yeah, I'm very excited for more extruders. I think extruder for me is probably the most expensive part still on a tool head. I use bamboo hot ends now for a lot of my designs because they're $30. They're ceramic, super high quality. Extruders still are like $60, $80, and I'm cheap. Yeah, I've used Sailfin on a couple printers, Woodcat. I've used Sharkfin and Sherpa. They're all great extruders. So there we go. heat set's all done. So what we'll do here is we're going to install the main gear here. Okay, cool. Yeah, Enderwire will be a cool printer. Yeah, all the rails are MGN9C, correct. All right, so we got to get this super tiny set screw in place, and I should Loctite it. Need to find my tiny Allen right here. Trying to think where my thread lock is, but there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna go grab my thread locker. All right, got my thread lock, but we'll wait till I fully assemble everything first before we thread lock. Because I want to get the gear in the correct position before I mess around with thread lock. So I think that's correct. I think I put that on backwards. So this is going to go, so that goes in the back, just like that. And then this is going to go on once I slide that together. So let's take this out here. Yeah, Core XZ is really cool. I really want to finish my Cappy printer that's Core XZ. I already have all the parts for the Enderwire, so that's why it shows it. Cool hacks. Awesome. Yeah, Enderwires are neat printers for sure. Alright, so I think I can bolt this together now. So these are M3 by 16, M3 by 8s. These are M3 by 14s, I think, are what are hold the body together. I think. We'll see here. Yeah, I think this is what this is for. Kind of winging it on the build here. Nope, those look too small. So I think it's M3 by 16. Rolla, what's the name of the one you mentioned? Cafe. Mentioned for which? Sorry. And I need my blue Allen key. did I use that last? Oh, Cappy. Yeah, if you look on my Discord, and I do have a video on it, Cappy. Yeah, it uses Core XZ. Yeah. I only did one video of it. I am going to make a real version of it, but there's definitely, I know there's people interested in that printer, and it's super cool. It was Core XZ, but it used HBot, and it had some issues. I want to make it true Core XZ. Just gotta find my other Allen here. So away. There it is. So we'll just bolt these two bodies together here. So this is starting to get assembled quite nicely. All right. So we have our making some good progress on this. So I believe I can actually mount the motor on the back now, which I think is the M3x14s now. Yes, that looks correct. So now we can adjust the actual tension on the motor so that it lines up really nice with our drive gear. So we don't want it to be too tight against the gear, otherwise it'll bind. We just want it to be tight enough, and we can move the bottom gear here and check. It runs pretty good. Might even be a bit too tight, truthfully. So we can back that off just a touch. So we'll lock that into place now. Make sure everything's nice and tight here. We'll still see, make sure it moves nice and smoothly, which it does. Perfect. Hey Bruce, did you end up using that cheapo Chinese crappy? No, no. Yeah, Creality just randomly shipped this to me. Some grease, whatever that grease is, and some glue stick. I'll use the glue stick, but I'm not going to touch the grease. It was pretty funny that just randomly showed up after I made that K1 video saying I didn't get any glue stick. I mean, they watch my videos, I guess, right? So. Oh, interesting. Okay. Won't look like my gear's back far enough here. Let me just take this off. I think it's pushing my gear forward too far. I thought maybe this kit didn't need the shaft ground down, but or it's just didn't install all the way maybe. Interesting, okay. I don't think this is a fault of the BMG kit that I have. I think this is a fault of the printed parts that I have, potentially. It doesn't seem like my gear is sitting all the way back and they're not aligning up with the filament path. So the white gear, the white drive gear is not fully seating. Or it seems like it's not fully seating. I gotta disassemble this and check it out. Hey hacks, yeah, I'm gonna show off some Fortress stuff here. Wow, we've already been streaming for an hour and 10 minutes, it looks like. Yes, wow. Time just flew by here. Okay. I will definitely be showing off some Fortress here relatively shortly. Oh, Sovol and Crowdy are the same parent company? Or have the same parent company? That's cool. Or interesting, I should say. Yeah. Something's really odd here with this. So the gear here, the white gear, it's not actually sliding back far enough. And so my actually filament gear here, it's too far forward to line up with the filament path, which I've not ever seen before on a Sherpa. I might actually put some washers. I think actually that's what I'm going to do. I think. Yeah, like you can see the gear is like really, really far forward. It should be down, it should be over this way more. It's kind of rubbing on the frame. So I think I'm going to space it out a little bit with some washers. So we'll use Crowdy boards. Oh, interesting. I did not know that. Okay, I need some washers. So I'm going to try and use some washers to space this out properly here, and I'll show it once I'm done. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to need probably 2 per. So I've actually never seen that happen before. So okay, so what we're going to do then is I'm going to take my front housing and I'm going to take my, might have to get longer M3 by 20 maybe actually, so that I can use the spacers. I think this should work at least. Oh, that's a good question, Lucid. I really don't know. Being able to easily take it with me to work, friends' houses, etc. It's a small printer. I would say it weighs less than a V0, but I couldn't tell you on an exact weight. I just don't know if I'm going to have enough gear that's going to actually contact. Yeah, it should be relatively easy to carry around for sure. So I'm just going to see here how this is going to work. So I'm just adding some washers in between the body so that my gear is a little bit better centered here, and then I think my filament gear will actually line up. Yeah, so my filament gear now lines up with the, you're not going to be able to see this, but my filament gear lines up with the filament that's going to be running through the extruder. It's just, actually, yeah. I'm going to lose a little bit of tooth, but it should still be okay. So yeah, I had to use two M3 washers in the middle to actually get this to work. So very weird. I've never seen that before, but it's possible it is the printed parts. So some M3 washers fixed it. Looks like I'm losing some there. So we'll put in the two washers on each side. And then I'm going to have to use some washers for the motor too. Oops. So I'm just using some a little bit longer M3s so that I can put some washers. And that way the spacing is correct. Okay, so we'll mount the motor now. I'm going to use the longer bolts here. And again, I'll put some washers on the top too. Just a little bit finicky to get these in. So let's get this. There. So just adding some washers to the middle of the top there as well. All right. And I just need two more washers for the top. There we go. So that should fix the issue I was having there. Yeah, it moves much more freely now. And you can see the gear is now more in the middle of the body. And now when I put on my filament drive gear, it actually lines up. And of course I lost the set screw. Oh no. I think I have spares, luckily, but yeah, the set screw fell out, it looks like. I will probably never find that. But I do have spare gear kits, so I can use a set screw from that, I think. Yeah. Okay, luckily I have a spare. Oh, William, yes. I want LDO to offer maybe space gray and green, for sure. I'd love a green frame Rook or a space gray, I think would be a pretty common one. I don't think he wants to have like crazy colors that don't sell, because there's cost involved, of course, but... This set screw doesn't want to go in nicely. Unless that's already in all the way. Huh, okay. Interesting. Set screw's much bigger. Which I don't think that will work. Oh, I found it. Thankfully I found the correct set screw. That was a bit scary. So let's actually take this one out, which doesn't seem to work. Let's put on, this set screw is very small. It's shorter than the other one. Okay, there we go. Just dropping everything here. But LDO Rook kit, but honestly going to wait until hopefully starts on 2020 colored frames. That would be neat. That easy enough. I mean, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think it's more LDO doesn't want to have a whole bunch of anodized frames they can't use for anything else. Like, just don't want to have a whole bunch of inventory that's useless, right? Which does make sense. Okay, so I got the filament gear on there. And everything looks to be lined up quite nice. Spins nicely. It's kind of tricky to get in there, but yeah. Spins quite nice. Everything's looking good, so what next? I think we need to make the idler shaft, which uses those bearings. So let's get this out of the way. We have a pin here. Should be 2 pins. Is it 2 pins? Yeah, there should be another pin. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, getting the frame anodized yourself kind of thing. Yeah, that would be actually not bad idea. Am I just losing more parts here? Where is my other pin? Oh, maybe they use a screw instead. Yeah, maybe it's a screw instead. Okay. All right, so there's our pin for the idler. And then we have our needle bearings. Which actually, oh, this is a Bowden collet included there too. Very neat. Okay, so I'm going to have to lubricate the needle bearings. So let's get some super lube. All right, so let's get bearings on the shaft here. And then I'm just going to put a really small amount of super lube on the needle bearings. Just so they're not dry. And then we're going to slide them on the shaft here. And then we'll press that onto this, hopefully in the correct orientation. So this is going to go like this, and that goes on like this. Okay, so we've just pressed that on there with the lubricated needle bearings. Very, very smooth, no weird noises or anything like that. Make sure we get the grease off. So there we go. And then we can actually line this up. Put on our front bearing. Slides onto the shaft. And then just our end cap goes on it. So, yep, let's install that with the smaller screws here. Oh, cool. Car part's anodized yet. Here we go. So everything's moving nice and smooth. Install our idler lever here. And yeah, this didn't come with a pin for that, so I'm assuming it's... We'll just use a M3, I guess. I think that'll work fine. It's very possible I lost the pin. So I'm just using an M3 bolt as the pin because I don't know where it's supposed to be or what happened to it or whatever. It should be completely fine. And yeah, M3 by 20 looks like it works perfectly. It doesn't look like push the idler on both sides. So we're going to take this out real quick. Yeah, I didn't fully seat. There we go. Now that's nice and level. So we'll slide that in, and then I'm going to put the pin slash bolt back in. Luckily M3 works perfectly, it seems. There we go. That's much better. So there's our lever. And then we're going to take our spring and install that. And there we go. We have our fully assembled Sherpa Mini. Had to do some weird spacers there, but honestly it works nice. I don't really see any problems. Filament path looks good. So that's I'm gonna make a little adapter so that'll mount right there. So that'll be nice. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the Rook. Who wants to see Fortress? Can show a little bit of Fortress off and end the stream there, kind of thing. I wasn't even expecting to do an hour and a half. I thought it would just be an hour. So over here. All right. Fortress. Can't really see it super well, but it's a bit bigger than Rook. Still a nice size printer though. Why is that really weird angle, or it's all not quite level there? Apologize for my streaming setup. It's not the greatest. So I've definitely made a good amount of progress here with Fortress. I've designed these brackets that hold our rear 2020s in place. Really nice. I'm very happy with how these work. They're very, very stiff. They align them the correct orientation. I have my Z mount here with my motor mounted, and I've actually run the Z belt. Yeah, these extrusions suck. These are painted. These aren't even anodized. They're cheap Amazon garbage. T-nuts don't even fit that well. Yeah, Zombie, just build a fortress. So I'll flip this over on its side. I've got a huge mess here, but so I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, and the camera is not happy right now. So you can see I've got the Z belt in place. It actually works. Synchronized Z, single motor. Actually really happy with how this has turned out. This was a big thing for Fortress. I actually should have this printing here very soon now that this is done. I could throw together a power supply, put my Manta board on here, and it'll be printing. I have the main board here ready to go. So this is a Manta Easy that I'm going to be mounting in the back or somewhere. I might even mount it here or something like that and put the power supply back here. But yeah, I could actually have this printing because I have the hot end and everything on the printer. XY is done. As far as motion, I have my last rear panel here, which is needed for the get it in place. I haven't actually test fit this yet, but this is the wrong way, I think. There we go. So yeah, that's going to go like that. Yeah, all the panels are printed. I still have to adjust the panels a little bit because they're ABS and they shrink a little bit. But yeah, all the bottom panels are printed. The side panels will be printed. You could use laser cut acrylic if you wanted to as well. The side panels are a little intricate because they have these brackets on the side. I'll give a bit better angle here. So yeah, there'll be some lower side panels that come to half of this extrusion, and then the other half will be up here, and then there'll be a printed top and stuff. No, Panda's going to be much different for this. The Z is a test bed for Panda. Yeah, the Z is a test bed, Woodcat. Thank you, Lucid. Thank you. Printed panels are cheap, right? They're like a couple dollars each, not even probably. And you can print them yourself. A lot of people don't have laser cutters and stuff to cut acrylic. So honestly, a couple panels, you can slowly build this. It can print PLA while you're adding panels, and then once you got your panels on there, you can do ABS. But there's going to be a linear rail back here, of course. I just don't have it mounted. But yeah, 3 lead screws. I have my linear rails mounted on the front. I made some mounts for those. Thanks, William. Yeah, Fortress is cool, but Panda is going to be a fun build. I'm very excited to make Panda. I'm hoping it will. I mean, it's kind of the successor in what I wanted to do with Simple Core. Like Panda is going to kind of take over. So I'm I'm very happy with the Z on this printer so far. It's looking to be really nice. The motor sitting right here is nice and compact out of the way. The bed doesn't go down any farther than this. It won't hit anything or anything like that. So really nice there. And yeah, like I still have to move the idlers out 6 millimeters on each side to give a little bit more XY, but it's going to be super cool. For lack of, Panda's going to be my Bamboo Labs DIY version, essentially. It's going to be a 250 by 250 by 250 printer, very compact, inexpensive DIY. Yeah, I'm hoping it will be a great option for people who just want to build their own printer and not buy I love my Bamboo Lab. I'm not going to lie about that. My Bamboo Lab X1 is great, but I want to make a super clean DIY version. It's going to be primary linear rods for Z and Y, and it's going to have an MGN 12X rail, unsupported, no 2020 on it. Again, very simple, low amount of extrusions, easy to build. It's going to be a really cool printer. I'm super excited to start designing it once some of my projects are done. So this is getting close. I just need to, make a couple more parts here and there, and this can start printing while I just move these belts out just a little bit. There's definitely some wasted room here, and these could come out a little bit. So I'm excited to have this at least printing while I start working on more of the parts, but it's taken a long time. The Z uses a 760 millimeter belt, timing belt, and the size worked perfectly. I ordered 2 sizes, and that seemed like the best size, the best fit. And now that I have this panel in place, I can actually mount my final linear rail on the back, and I can mount my bed. Now that once my bed gets mounted, I can start printing on this printer, and I can start showing it off more in videos and maybe do a live stream on it printing and stuff like that. So I basically have all the parts for it, and anyone who has bought the Rook Evolution on My Manufactory, of course, gets this printer. This is included in the Rook Evolution purchase price of $8. So yeah, very, very happy with how this is coming along. I have like maybe 3 more parts to print out for the bed, and this should be printing. Yeah, the Prusa mini bed, I'll be able to mount that. Now that I got my linear rails in place here. Yeah, you're going to definitely have to build some Core XY stuff, Lucid, for sure. They're fun printers. I'm eventually going to try to start transitioning into cross gantry a bit more, I think. I like the belt path of cross gantry a bit better. However, they're definitely more expensive. But there's a side view again. So there's let's just take this off here because it's not mounted yet. There's a good amount of space in the back here. So that's how much you have. There's no space for the Meanwell power supply at the bottom, unfortunately. So the Meanwell power supply could go up here, or it can go in the electronics area here and then put the board here. So I just have this Manta Easy. So this could actually mount on the back just fine here. You could mount it in the electronics bay here. There's definitely room for that. It's kind of user choice where you want to put the power supply. Ultimaker is kind of cross gantry. It's a little bit different, but I guess it is technically cross gantry. However, they use a synchronized like rod with like some more belts and pulleys and stuff. It's not. I guess I wouldn't consider it true cross gantry. My Defiant printer is true cross gantry, where it has two X motors and two Y motors. Oh, what movie were you watching, William? Thank you very much. Yeah, I wanted to show off Fortress. I have been working hard on it this week to get this Z motor bracket installed, mount the final linear or final lead screw in the back. That's all done. Run the belt, make sure everything's good, the tensioning's good. Um, yeah, it's getting really close. Yeah, my Defiant printer is a relatively inexpensive cross gantry. It's like $900 Canadian or $900 US or something like that. It's much cheaper than like an Annex and stuff like that. It's obviously doesn't compete with the Annex. It's just my own cross gantry design. Oh wow, that sounds like, oh yeah, Sizu. I want to watch that. Yeah, I've definitely heard of the movie you're talking about. I want to see it. It's supposed to be it's supposed to be a really crazy movie. I completely forgot about that movie, so it's a good reminder for me. I wanna check that out for sure. But yeah, I just wanted to show off the progress on Fortress. I do post regular updates on my Patreon on Fortress progress and on Rook 180 progress. Um, this is getting really close. Like it could be printing by the next weekend or whatever. Um, so I'm hoping that there'll be more videos on it soon. Yeah, Ultimakers are crazy expensive. Yeah, I have my Defiant printer here. I can maybe show it off. I don't have the greatest, but there's Defiant right there. There's going to be videos coming soon on this printer. This is my next update printer after Fortress, so definitely look out for videos on it. It's a triple Z Trident bed cross gantry printer. Um, I even made it more expensive than normal because it's running a Rapido, which I don't use anymore because they're so expensive. So you could run like a Triangle Lab CHC for cheaper. There's definitely cheaper options out there now. It's a really nice printer. I've just had a lot of projects on the go and I haven't been able to like finish it off, but don't worry, there'll be videos coming on Defiant soon as well. But yeah, that's kind of the live stream. I appreciate everyone coming and checking out the little bit of Rook building that we did and take a look at the progress on Fortress. Hang out. I'm going to try to do more live streams. It's nice to answer questions this way and kind of interact with the community better. Yeah, Ultimakers are like way far in the commercial range. And honestly, they're not even that good. I guess if you were like a school or something like that, or a company and needed like on-site support and stuff like that, maybe it makes sense. But they're way overpriced for what they are, in my opinion. But they're like you say, they're not intended for consumers. Thanks, Lucid. Yeah, I'm planning on continuing the videos, and I do want to do more live streams, 100%. I've been lacking a little bit in the live streams, and I want to do more. So, hey, Mystery. Yeah, we're just about to wrap up here, so really appreciate everyone that came by and hung out and chatted with me. Look out for more videos coming soon and more streams. I definitely need to stop slacking on the streams, but yeah, there'll definitely will be more. So Thanks again, everyone. I'm going to end the live stream here, and I'll catch all you guys on the Discord. Thanks all.